Okay, time for a little interactive section of the show now. I've got a question for you, but I want you to lean in while I ask you it. Okay? The question is... Do you scare easily? Well, because I know I do, which is a bit of a hindrance, what with this being an age of global terror and everything.
It's an age that juggles depressing televised updates about the situation in Iraq or Afghanistan with a bewildering number of rules brought in to help clamp down on our stupid terrorist-assisting civil liberties. That's why you need permission to protest within jizzing distance of Westminster, and you're not allowed to photograph policemen anymore, and why, under new legislation to be unveiled in the next 10 minutes, you won't be able to have a wee without the government training a camera on the very tip of your cock in case it's trying to piss in a subversive way.
Yeah, wherever you look, terror colours the news with a deep, dark, depressing tint. Having officially kicked off in the wake of 9/11, the war on terror subsequently mutated into a crazy game of whack-a-mole, as we were told the source of terror was this away, then that away, then this away again.
First, we went into Afghanistan and hooray, we defeated the Taliban. The focus then shifted to Iraq and a ruddy Great War, which a less balanced voiceover than this might describe as an obscene and illegal blood-soaked folly predicated on megalomania and lies.
But now we're told Iraq's calmed down again, our troops are being withdrawn, and then we're told that the people of Iraq are optimistic about their future, which may or may not be connected with this famous act of closure. You know, say what you like about Bush, he is shit hot at dodging shoes. It's like he trained to do it for years at some secret CIA boot camp. Boot camp, you get it? Boot... Oh, f*** you. Anyway, things down at Iraq Alley are apparently also peaching. Even tourists are returning in a sort of tour of duty-free.
Tina, you bought a souvenir. Let's have a look.
It's been very difficult getting any postcards at all. I think the best bits were the Marsh Arabs and Ur of the Chaldees and Babylon.
Have you felt safe?
Oh, yes.
In fact, the war on terror has ended. Well, sort of. It's actually been rebranded as the Overseas Contingency Operation, which makes it sound less like an unending worldwide conflict and more like the sort of job description some little apprentice pipsqueak twat contestant might put on their CV. Anyway, all things considered, things should be less scary now, right? Wrong.
Because we're also told the situation in Afghanistan has become more dire than ever. The Afghan elections on August the 20th could prove to be a decisive moment. The Taliban are trying to create as much chaos as possible in advance of that date, probably in a bid to convince the population that the Allies can't stabilise things.
Even sending in Grant Mitchell to try and stare the Taliban to death didn't work.
I've just been hit. We're in the open.
If even Grant finds it harrowing and terrifying, what hope is there?
What are we going to send in next, Phil? On top of that, we're now told that neighbouring Pakistan is tilting towards chaos. You know, things aren't going well for the world in general when a news network feels the need to create a Mega Drive-style suicide bomber sprite that they can summon into being at the touch of a button. Anyway, in short, it seems the great game of whack-a-mole continues, with Afghanistan and the northwest of Pakistan now being treated as one collective mole. Still, if the politicians seem to be prepping the ground for yet more grim times and the public so distrusting of more or less anything we're told after the whole embarrassing pack of lives Iraq war business, well, maybe the news can fill the vacuum with balanced and insightful reporting. Yes? Well, yes and no.
Sky News recently spent 3 days bringing us a revelatory Pakistan special featuring some brave, and I'm talking literally physically brave, reporting from Stuart Ramsey and Alex Crawford. There was also a surreal piece from Jeremy Thompson from the Marriott Hotel, which, following a previous attack, now consists of a cross between an active war zone on the outside and the Ritz on the inside.
Step through the checkpoints, the metal detector and the body search, and you're into a very different world. The Pakistani capital's most prestigious 5-star hotel.
Plus lucid analysis from their foreign affairs editor Tim Marshall.
See, I'm keen not to sit here and go, oh, Sky News, that's just terrible, isn't it? Because it isn't. The thing is that the nature of rolling news means that it's often packaged together with alarming airport thriller imagery.
We see endless looping replays of material taken from propaganda videos in which members of the Taliban were shown kicking an old look-in annual to death and shooting at an infidel circle.
And less mockably, footage of the Taliban beating people with sticks and clips of the moments just prior to beheadings and shootings. See, I am rational. I do know that Sharia law doesn't just consist of hitting people with sticks. It covers things like property and finance and so on. But it's the hitting people with sticks element that tends to stick in your mind a little when you watch things like this. Taken accumulatively, it only serves to fill me with a raw animal sense of panic. The end result, intentionally or otherwise, is to leave me in a state of helpless fear. I'd rather actively remain ignorant than be exposed to this. No wonder people want to ignore it and just watch anything else. That's what I want to do. Oh look, that's better. This is cheerful. It's a lovely pony.
Dusty's owners never came.
Oh no, it's a lonely pony. Neighbours is always uplifting. This will be good. I love them. Oh shit, they've got guns.
The word hill is coming in as well.
Oh, brilliant. Psychic, psychic, woo-woo, babble, bloody reality-denying, bloody bullshit. How do you think the world got into this mess in the first place, you pricks? Oh, brilliant. Sylvester and Tweety Pie. I love them. Oh, no, wait a minute. It's one of the new ones. It's shit and awful. Oh, no, not you.
We're being put through a refiner's fire. Some glorious miracles are going to happen in our life. I really, truly believe that.
Oh, God, he's the worst thing in the world. And we're back here again. The circle's complete. This is horrible. Everything's horrible. There is no escape. Oh, dear. Oh, wait a minute. He's good looking. Now, are you finding the world's news too scary and depressing to bear? Yes. Do you tune in and simply think, oh dear? Yeah. Yeah, I know you do, because I am you dickhead. Dickhead. All right. Anyway, we've got a short film now on that very subject from Adam Curtis. Would you like to see it? Go on then. Yeah, I thought you might, but before I show it to you, I've been asked to point something out in case you mistake views for facts. The following is a short film by the documentary maker Adam Curtis, the man behind The Power of Nightmares, The Century of the Self and The Trap. It represents his personal and some might say controversial viewpoint. It's therefore his viewpoint. It's his viewpoint. It's his viewpoint. It's a man's viewpoint. It's not a big bunch of facts carved into a concrete block by a fact computer, all right? It's one man's viewpoint. Are you ready for it? Yes. Good. Here we go.
Everyone knows that television news can be boring. That's because it's often about politics, which can be very dull.
This unprecedented aid for Scottish mining, and no one else is getting it, comes at a time when the indicators show some difficulties for Labour in Scotland.
Book him, Dano.
But these days there is another problem with watching the news. Night after night we are shown pictures of terrible things which we feel we can do nothing about. Images of civil wars, massacres and starving children, which leave us feeling helpless and depressed, and to which the only response is, oh dear. There is a name for this. It's called oh dearism. And this is the story of the rise of oh dearism in television news. It began with the rise of the counterculture in the 1960s. The radicals believed that all politics was corrupt because it always involved power.
Bring the police! Send for the police quickly. Cut your hair!
The radicals wanted to find a new way to connect directly with the dispossessed in the world, bypassing politicians. Their chance came in 1968 with the Biafran Civil War in Africa. Western politicians were doing nothing as thousands starved. So a group of radicals began a campaign to rescue the dying children. Propaganda films were made that portrayed the conflict dramatically as a new Holocaust. Celebrities held 48-hour vigils, and television news eagerly covered it. And then Blue Peter held an appeal for Biafra, and the response astonished everyone.
We asked for 144,000 parcels, and you'll never guess just how many we got. We got 1,444,000, and that is 10 times more than our actual target.
What Biafra began reached its high point in 1985 with Live Aid. Michael Burke's news reports of the Ethiopian famine had shocked the West. Bob Geldof then used television to create an extraordinary event of global altruism. It showed that we together could do more to save the world than our ineffectual and corrupted politicians.
The lesson today is how to die.
And it also made us feel good about ourselves. Those running Live Aid thought that they had transcended the corruption of politics. But actually, the money they raised may have had its own corrupting and destructive effects in Africa. The dictator of Ethiopia, Colonel Mengistu, was fighting a civil war, and some have claimed that he used Western aid to fund the war and to prolong it for a further 6 years. Médecins Sans Frontières has said that this may have led to as many deaths as were actually saved by the aid. But this wasn't reported because it was too complicated, and it wouldn't have made us feel good about ourselves.
Go on.
Then, in 1989, the West won the Cold War. The old political story of left versus right was finished. But reporters still needed a grand, simple story about the world, into which all the chaotic events and fragments of stuff that happen every day could be fitted. And waiting in the wings was the hippie counterculture view of the world. A view which saw everything as a struggle between innocent individuals and corrupt political systems. And TV news embraced it eagerly. And it worked. From the glorious revolutions in Eastern Europe, to the brave students in Tiananmen Square, through to the plucky Bosnians in the horror of Sarajevo, television news told a story of noble individuals bravely standing up against bad political systems. But this simple battle between good and evil couldn't last, and it finally cracked back where it first began, in Africa. In 1994, the Hutus massacred millions of Tutsis in Rwanda. In the wake of the massacres, millions of refugees flooded into the Congo. Western aid workers and television crews also flooded in to help the innocent victims. But they soon discovered that many of them weren't innocent at all. They were the evil Hutus who had killed millions of the Tutsis.
When people crossed the border, we all knew very well that among them there were murderers. There were people that were helping. Every time we give out food, every time we give health services, we know that among the people that we're helping there are murderers.
Then the Tutsis invaded the camps to get their revenge. But instead of behaving like good victims, they too carried out terrible massacres. And a horrific war began, in which 4.5 million people died. And everyone was evil, even the children. And that had a terrible effect on television news. Because when there weren't any good or innocent people to support any longer, the kind of news reporting invented in the 90s made no sense. Because the news had given up reporting them as political struggles, it meant there was now no way to understand why these terrible events were happening. And instead, political conflicts around the world, from Darfur to Gaza, are now portrayed to us as simple illustrations of the mindless cruelty of the human race, about which nothing can be done, and to which the only response is, oh dear. It's like living in the mind of a depressed hippie.
Well, that's about all we've got time for this week. And what does that mean?
What?
On the teleprompter, whatever the words mean. To play us out, what does that mean?
Play us out, it's the link.
Well, like the end of the show?
Yeah, it's the end of the show.
Right, okay. All right, go. All right.
Okay.
Well, that's about all we've got time for this week. And now to well, it doesn't... Look, I can't do this, all right? Do you want to just... all right, look, we'll do it live. All right, f*** it, we'll do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live, all right? F***ing thing sucks! Well, that's about all we've got time for this week. And now to play us out, it's the end theme music. Thanks for watching. Good night.
And we're sticking with the newsreaders next tonight, as it's a brave new world for Emily Maitlis. She's introduced to the Queen of Country and The Godfather, amongst other things, in I've Never Seen Star Wars. Next.